All right, hello once again, Jeff Scott from Jeff Teaches Programming. And in the last video, we began taking our payroll application and converting it to an EFCore application. And I do want to show you a couple things. First of all, it works now, but I want to show you why it didn't work. All right, each one of these files, and I forgot about this, in the designer, the namespace was still set to the old project name, which was like third iteration payroll GUI. So once I changed those, basically all the errors that I had went away. I've also changed the color of each form, but I want to show you something and then we're going to go on. That is this. It runs now. I didn't try to do anything with it. I changed the colors, so it's now orange. Notice I can go to hourly, I can go to piece worker, I can go to commission worker, I can go to salaried worker. That's all fine and dandy. What I eventually would like to do is remove everything that's on those forms and replace it. I shouldn't say everything. I want to keep the return button, but other than that, I want to put a data grid view in there, and I want to be working off the data grid view. That's the first thing I wanted to tell you. Second thing is I'm going to build a database in the next two videos, and it'll be called Payroll Database. And if you look in here where I've got the mouse going up and down, there is nothing called Payroll or Payroll Database or Payroll DB or anything like that. Okay? Now, the first thing I want to do is I want to come in here like we have been doing before, and I want to add two new folders. The first one I'll just call Data, and that's where we're going to put our context file in just a bit. And our second one, which is what I'm going to start working in now, is going to be called Models. Oops, and I would like to spell that correctly. All right, so coming into my models, first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to add a class, and this is going to be my base class. So I'm just going to call it Employee. So it'll be employee.cs. It's got the right namespace in it. I want to make this public. All right, and it's going to be pretty simple. We're going to have two fields in here. We have a public int ID with a get set, and we're going to have a public string. No, we don't want name. We're going to call this, employee type, and it's going to have, yes, a get in it, but it's going to have a protected set because we're going to be resetting it every time based on, protected, should take protected set. Not sure why it's not taken then. Well, for now, we'll just leave it as a set. How's that? I want that to be protected. What doesn't it like here? Employee type to get, not all paths return a value. Okay, not a problem. Oh. There we go. And let's make that protected. There we go. That was what the problem was. Okay, so that's our first one. That's literally it. Now, we can set it equal to string.empty. We've done this before. Don't know why it's got two of those, but there. Don't have to do that, but it's fine to do that. So there's our first one. That is going to be our employee class. All right, so file, save all, and let's create the next one. So let's add another class. These will be our four derived classes. So this one will be called hourly employee. Again, we're going to make this public. Thought I made the other one public. I'm pretty sure I did, right? Yep. Okay, so this one is now public. And we're going to have in here public, I'm going to change this a little bit. Public decimal hours worked. We're not going to worry right now about the using the ID. In public decimal hourly rate, which again is going to be a get set. And believe it or not, we're going to put a constructor in here. It's a class after all, so we can put a constructor in it. So we'll say public hourly employee, but we don't want it to be empty. What we're going to do is in here, we're going to say employee, employee type is equal to hourly. Now we're getting an error. We're going to fix that right away, but I wanted to show you that. The reason we're getting this error is this has to extend employee. And notice now the error goes away. So we've got an hourly employee where we're setting the type to hourly. We're putting in the hours worked and the hourly rate. All right, so that's 2 of our 5 are now complete. We'll just keep going like this. So we will add another class. We're going to call this, I think it might have been right to begin with, but piece worker. Employee.cs, and it's going to be very similar to the last one we just did. This will be public. It will again extend employee, and we will have public int pieces made, and it'll have a get set, and we'll have public int price per piece with a get set. And again, we will put in the same kind of way. We're going to put a constructor in here. And we're going to say employee type is equal to piece. I'm trying to keep this simple. We could say piece worker or whatever, but it's fine. That's piece. The hourly was hourly. Okay. So file, save all. Now 3 of our 5 are done. Let's do the other 2. So we'll add another class, and this will be called commission employee.cs. And again, remember, these are going to end up being our tables. Let's make this public. I'm sorry, right there. And we will have public decimal commission percentage with a get set, public decimal sales amount with a get set, and again we will have our constructor public commission employee, where we will say here employee type is equal to commission. So we now have, that's, let's see, public, double check, public, good. File, save all, and you can guess what's left, and that's salary. So we will add yet another class. It will be called salaried employee.cs. That will be public. We'll again get from employee or inherit from employee. We'll have a public decimal salary with a get set, and then we will immediately, because that's the only field, put in our constructor, which we'd like to spell right. So that'll be public salaried employee, and all we have to say in here again is employee type equals salaried. All right, that's public as well. As far as I can tell, everything in here is correct. So I'm going to close all these. Oops. So we've come in our models and we've created the classes that will hopefully become our tables. We've got an employee class. We have an hourly employee class, a piece worker employee class, a commission worker employee class, and a salaried employee class. I might have said commission worker, it's commission employee. All right. Then I want to come in here and I want to do one more thing. I don't know where I am for time. I'm at 10 minutes, so I have plenty of time. But what I want to do is in the next video, I want to add the DB set file because it's going to be big because there's a lot of changes we have to make because we're working with multiple tables. But before I do that, I want to come into our project here and I want to add a new item. It is going to be an app.config, which I know is in here someplace. Thought it was at least. Now let me look. Data. Media.net. Code, no, general. Application configuration file, app.config. There it is. Add that. And what I did was I grabbed the one that we had used for our last program, meaning it's the one that we had used for our BMI-EFCore01b program, and I just changed the name of the database to payroll database here and here. So I'm going to grab this, copy that over, and I'm going to totally replace what's in here with that. All right. So again, ideally, at least, we will be building a database that'll be called payroll database. All right. So file, save all. All right. And as I mentioned to you previously, and I'm going to say it again, in the next video, what I would like to do is to be able to come in here and create the payroll DB context app file. It's not small. Okay. After we do that, then hopefully we'll be able to do an we'll be able to go in and create the database. All right. And then we'll come in and start working from there. All right. Now, we haven't done anything that should keep this program from running, but I am going to save everything. And I'm just going to close this just to make sure and make sure that it still runs. Like I said, there shouldn't be anything in here that we just put in that should break it. There we go. Okay. All right, so let's exit from here. In fact, before we do, let's just do one thing. It says this is a payroll program, and it will. All right, because I think we're going to change this a little bit. Yeah, I'm going to exit, and I'm going to do this. Close that. There's our forms. We can go in. We don't have to do this, but I'm going to add a new folder, and I'm going to call it forms. And I'm going to move all my forms into there. Maybe if I could move them one at a time. Remember, there was a way to do that. Put them into forms. And it'll tell it to move it and adjust the namespace and everything accordingly. And it'll have to do this for all of them. We don't have to do this. I'm just making the program, for lack of better words, a little easier to see what's what. Now, if it all moved in there okay, if everything is okay, it should still run. It should still look exactly the same. And there it is. All right. I'm going to exit, and I want to do one more thing here before we finish this one. And that is in here, all right, in our help, show help message. Yeah, see, I threw everything in here like this, and that's Not that there's anything wrong with that, because there isn't, but I'm going to break this up. Okay, this is a help message for this program. Good. Okay, fine. All right, and I'm going to do this. Just bear with me if you would, please. So I'm going to say MSG plus equals, and I'm going to start adding to this. So the program begins on this screen. Oh, and I think I'm changing the wrong one. It's okay. It'll be fine with it. I'm doing this. That's fine. Maybe it'll make it a little easier for you to read. When we get done with this, it should look exactly the same as it just did. So. I might have to end up changing this again now that I think about it, because we're going to have database stuff in here, so it's probably going to change, but it's okay. All right, let's make sure that when we go to the help screen, we didn't screw up anything. Like I said, it should look exactly the same. There it is. Okay, that's what I changed. What I wanted to change was this. And probably that's either in here under text. It's not, so it's probably in the load event. There it is. This is a payroll program, which, you know, see that? I don't like that at all. All right, so we're going to do this. I'm going to leave that the way it is, but I'm going to come in here and say string. It is another message, so message equals, and what I'll do for now is I'll just start adding the stuff. So this is an updated payroll program. Let's see. We are adding an EntityFrameworkCore database component to the original program. And I will put a \r\n\r\n there, because I do want to make sure that what comes next will be on a new line. I don't want that. Rather than the use of text boxes and labels, as we had In the previous iteration of this program, we will now be using a data grid view control to allow for complete CRUD and delete operations. The rest of the MSG data will be saved to a database. I don't need the rest of it anymore. Should just said the data will be saved to a database. The rest of the requirements from the previous program iteration remain intact. All right, now I'm going to take this line right here and just comment it out in case I do want to see it again. And here I'm going to say equals message. All right, file, save all. Let's run this again. And it's going to look a lot. Whoa, hello. Oh, I didn't put a semicolon at the end of my last one here. So let's put that in. Save it again. And run it again. All right, well, you can see there's still a lot of room here. All right. So let's do this. Let's add the rest of the stuff in there. All right, so this is a payroll program which will prompt a user for one of there are 4 possible employee types, with each type with okay, try that again. With each type on its own C# form. Or a worker. Okay, that should be moved up a line. Sorry. X, put that here. Home MSG plus equals. All right, type on its own C# form. This looks like terrible. 1 hourly worker. Start here. X. Can work 4 hours per week and can make, let's put the be paid here. Per hour. Okay. Now I'll get rid of this. All right, I just want to see where I am here for room in this, because that's the first one. I don't need to say if both fields are valid. Calculate the gross pay. That's fine. All right, so file, save all. Hoping I'm still going to have enough room to put all this stuff in there. All right, so there's my first one. Good. All right, so this will be the next one. Okay, I'm going to make some changes here, but it's totally fine the way it is. All right. So 2 is a piece worker. A piece worker can make 0 to 100 pieces an hour and be paid 1 cent to $1 per piece. Again, I'm just going to take a quick look at that. So okay, like I said, where it says in here, if both fields are valid, calculate the gross pay. I'm getting rid of that. All right, so file, save all. We should be good because this will be our other 2 types of employees. Okay. I think what I'll do is I'm going to start here with a \n. There. All right, so let's keep adding. X V commission worker a commission worker gets a commission percentage between, I guess we did have 0%, and 30%. And that is 0.00 through 30.00, or I'm sorry, 0.30. And has a sales amount between 0 and 100,000. All right. I'm just going to go do the last one quickly. I think that'll be fine. A salaried worker makes between MSG plus equal 0 and okay. Not sales amount, salaried workers salary. I guess it was okay the way it was. Salary is between 0 and 100,000. Validity checks are made for each type of employee and if they are met, the gross pay is calculated accordingly. Semicolon here, and a semicolon here. And I don't think I need that line anymore. So let's see what this looks like now. All right. This is an updated payroll program. We are adding an EntityFrameworkCore, which I spelled wrong, database component to the original program, rather than the use of text boxes and labels. As we had done in a previous iteration of the program, we will now be using a data grid view. I'm going to say in there for each form, or for each employee type, to allow for complete CRUD. Well, there's a lot of mistakes in there, aren't there? The data will be saved to a database. Rest of the requirements of the program remain intact. Okay, let's pretty this up a little bit. Alright, this is an updated payroll program. Let's add a new line there. And we will get rid of this at the beginning. We are adding an EntityFrameworkCore database component to the original program. Rather than the use of text boxes and labels, as we had in the previous iteration of this program, we will now be using a data grid view control for each employee type to allow for complete CRUD operations. The data will be saved to a database. All right. The rest of the requirements, in fact, let's do it like this. The rest of the requirements from the previous program remain intact. I don't want to put that there. Put it here. There are 4 possible employee categories. Each type on its own C# form. Okay, let's see what that looks like. Hopefully I didn't make it too big that it's falling off the page. And I did. So that's okay, that's okay. This looks okay now. Oh, I forgot the paren there. Okay, I'll have to pretty this up a little bit. So we're going to do that right now. And the easiest way to do this is to come in here. Come on. And this is a label, and we'll change the size from 18.2. Let's make it 16. All right. That needed a paren. Let's look at it now. Okay, it still isn't fitting the 4th one in there. That's fine. All right. Fix that. All right. So that's all okay up to here. All right, they're all in there now. So let's look quickly at it. This is an updated payroll program. We're adding an EntityFrameworkCore database component to the original program rather than the use of text boxes and labels as we had in the previous iteration of this program. We will now be using a data grid view control for each employee type to allow for complete CRUD operations. The data will be saved to a database. The rest of the previous program requirements remain intact. There are 4 employee categories, each with its own C# form. Hourly worker. Hourly worker can work 0 to 84 hours per week and be paid nothing to $0.99 per hour. I'm going to get rid of those parens. Piece worker. A piece worker can make 0 to 100. That should have been pieces and be paid per piece 0 to 1. Okay, that's going to have to be fixed too. Commission worker gets a percentage between 0 and 30% and has a sales amount there. And salaried worker is between that and that. Okay, that looks fine. Let's just make those little superficial changes we have left. So, can work 0 to 84 hours per week and be paid nothing. I suppose if they would technically be a volunteer per hour. Piece worker can make between 0 and 100 pieces and be paid paid per piece, a penny through $1. I like it better. Per piece. Good. Commission worker gets a percentage between 0 and 30% and has a sales amount between nothing and $100,000. The salaried worker with a salary between nothing and $100,000. I think I cleaned it up accordingly. Should have said an hourly worker, but that's okay. 0 to 84 be paid there. Piece worker, pieces. I can say per hour there. Got a period there. Just about finished. Work. So that's an hourly worker. Be paid pieces per hour and be paid that. Okay. I think that's okay the way it is. It took way too long on this anyway, but that's been fixed. That I could pretty much put the same thing in here. But I'll leave it the way it is for now. So when I come back again, what I'm going to be doing is writing the DB context file, and I'll see you shortly with that file. Thanks. Ooh.